Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today you join me in the midst of the build up to a big work thing on Monday. We're launching an exhibition for a project that I've been working on and with now for about 5 years. It's BMX archaeology. And if you're curious, it's very 80s actually, you may well be curious, please do comment below and I'll share with you a bit of a preview if you're interested. But it's exciting, and at the end of February there'll be a documentary linked with the project that I've been making that'll be going public, and I'm looking forward to that, definitely. But today, because I'm so busy, I wanted to fit something in to my schedule for Soup's Eye View, and I figured why not share with you some of the modifications I've made in the workshop here in the shed. You see, since I moved in back in September, I've learned a lot about how I work in this space, and also what this space could handle in terms of tool storage. And so there's a few modifications, a few upgrades that I've made that I'm really happy with, and well, here we go. The first big change is outside the shed, where I've installed these hooks to help me manage the door. There's one here and also one here, and they're great because in this instance, for example, I can have the door closed almost entirely but allow the electricity cord to still be attached to the power socket, so I can have the light on in there. Let's say I'm popping inside for 10 minutes, I can leave the light on, or I can keep a heater running for for a couple of hours while I go and do something else inside. This helps me with that, and this hook here is a great option if I want the door open all the way. It also actually, this hook acts as a catch for the garden shed door over there, so we can open that door and have it attached here so it's not being bashed around by the wind. But inside I actually installed another hook on the door frame just here that allows me to have the door open so far instead, and that's very useful as well because the door has a tendency to just open on its own and bash into the roof line here, and it was damaging the shed. So these hooks help me to choose how I want the door to behave, and on a day like this, especially on a day like this in fact, this helps the door stay still. The wind doesn't take it randomly and damage things. The next big thing that I did in the shed in recent weeks is I've installed another box of storage drawers, screw drawers, and I have 100 drawers here on the wall, and you'd be amazed how quickly 50 drawers filled up. So I was on the verge of having the whole thing filled up, so we decided to get another set. My lovely wife actually insisted because she's been loving the ability just to come in and go, okay, right, we need 40mm screws, excellent, or we need I don't know, some small washers, perfect, this kind of thing. So she said, yep, go ahead, go and get another one, and now we have 100 little sorting drawers. My march towards middle age is well underway. I recently purchased this set of metal drill bits, and it's changed an awful lot about how I work. In so much as previously I've been working with metal bits that come with other sets. So a set like this that has metal masonry and wood bits, but actually 25 bespoke actual metal bits is very important, and it's made well, drilling through metal much easier. It's also increased some of my options when it comes to DIY and stuff. So it's a small thing, but important. I've installed this in the roof space, a little bar, a dowel on the roof with this frame and some riveted hacksaw blades just there, so that I can, when I'm working and I want to just grab a piece of tape, I have the option, if needs be, just to there we go, pull some off. And it's not the perfect solution just yet. I'm still working on it, but it's a great place to store my tape at the very least, and it has that option as and when I need it. I also, in recent weeks, installed, or rather replaced, the surfaces on the workbench here, on the storage bench, because all of this was MDF, much like the pegboard back there, and actually much like this shelf is just here. And it was all drooping. It was really quite sad, especially underneath down here. This shelf, which carries a lot of stuff, was super droopy. I was putting, my box of paints, for example, back there, or the grinder there. There's a toolbox back there. Putting stuff on there, you just feel it go whoo and drop down, because it's thin MDF. And to replace it with this sort of 9 to 12 mil plywood was a little bit expensive. It was 30-40 quid in all, but it was worthwhile doing because I have much more confidence now in this surface. I can put things down and they don't roll away for a start. And I also did the same actually inside the drawer. We replaced the I replaced the MDF in the drawer with a plywood surface, and it's just better. It's easier to find things. As I say, they're not rolling into a corner, and it's just gives you a bit more confidence when you're working. But the MDF didn't go to waste. Instead, I've used it on the wall here as a sort of I suppose an evolving pegboard. I drill holes in it and put hooks in there as and when I want to hang a new item on the wall. And this has really changed how I view my workspace. This is my primary workspace down here, and being able to sort of sit at this space and then simply look up and find whatever I need. It's within hand's grasp, especially, for example, safety goggles. Being able to, easily reach those is very important. I have a tendency to neglect those, but have them right there in front of me, crucial. Set square, rivet gun, the clamps and things, handsaw, really important. And also it sort of made what was fairly dead space useful right in front of me in the workshop. Also, this little box here I'm using to store sort of small losable things. Again, it's stuff like that. I always know where to look, and crucially as well, seeing this stuff reminds me what my options are. I can use the Fatmax knife if I want to. I can reach for some smaller clamps if I need those. It's just made life better, without a doubt. Speaking of making life better, I recently got hold of this, a Tenon saw, which is brilliant for cutting wood true in straight lines. The spine on the blade allows that to happen with ease. I mean, I was getting fairly good results with standard hand saws like this one, and obviously the one I have above my my work space. But the Tenon saw is designed with making that easier in mind, and it's just a delight to work with. Of course, my Japanese pull saw I got a few months ago, and I used that when I was making my lightsaber, cutting the stoppers off the gin bottle tops for the wooden rings on the lightsaber. Another fairly recent tool purchase has been this McAllister impact driver, which has just revolutionised things for me. It's a delight to use this when driving screws, as opposed to using its handheld drill or cordless drill cousin. Now this thing is wonderful. In fact, I have two of them, so I have a backup battery. But it's not the best for driving screws, because sometimes it's just too much force, and it's an unsubtle force with a cordless drill. It just it will strip screw heads sometimes. Whereas the way that an impact driver works, it's designed internally to have a certain amount of motion that doesn't destroy screws. And so this thing has been an utter delight. Impact drivers, if you're considering getting one and you're not sure, you go, well, I've got this works fine. Actually, so far, this thing not only works better for screws, but also it's prolonging the life of both, as it were. My screw heads and also both of those tools. It's impact drivers for the win, without a doubt. And I suppose that the final sort of improvement that I've made in recent weeks has been up here in the roof, where I've used a shelf from a pine shelf from a sort of a put together kit from B&Q to make a little alcove to store long things in the shed roof. It's quite handy because my head never goes into that part of the workshop. So it's sort of, you know, back above these shelves here, and it's great. You know, previously I had all this stuff like dowels and bits of plastic and posters I use for work, etc. up here, we're over there, and in that corner they just get lost. It's hard to know where they are, hard to retrieve them. Stuff sits on top of them or against them. It's a nightmare. Whereas just installing this in the roof, a little roof rack, has made all the difference. I love it. Oh, one more thing, just to the right of my workspace, I've installed this area here with a piece of plywood on the wall that allows me to have a place to charge tool batteries. Previously I'd just been charging them around the house, and that's unsatisfactory, not least because I trip over the wires. So that's a very welcome addition. And just here, a couple of things that were floating around and I use quite frequently, and this is just the perfect place for them. Some jigsaw blades and a block that I use as a thing to drill into. Often if you're drilling through something, you don't want to drill into your workbench, so drill me, not the bench. So there you have it. My workshop has subtly evolved over the past few months, and I'm sure it's going to continue to change. It's an ongoing work in progress. But I love this space as much as when I first got it. It continues to be joyful to come in here and to be able to create, and also to be able to make a space that makes it ever easier to make things, to do DIY or to make props or to make presents for people. I love it. Hopefully this has been interesting. As I say, it is a bit of a short, rushed video this week, but it's just a busy week. As ever, guys, until next time, do take care. Bye-bye.